I started over, quite literally. This title stands for two things. For one, I have started from zero in the last non-PvP servers, making my main server Vitera. It's been almost 5 months since I started and I'm closing in to level 450, leaving aside my 1k that I had on Shanera. The main reason for stopping there was quite simple, the Dominado. The leading guild decided to impose attacks on neutrals that were making too much experience. And that was pretty much directed towards my team and my friends, so after my team disbanded, I played a few months solo and more casual, until I decided to give the new servers a chance since a bunch of my friends were planning on playing there as well. And as for the second meaning of the video title, is that I have hopefully recovered my motivation to start making videos again. The reason I stopped in the first place is quite personal. I went through something very heavy in real life and that destroyed my motivation. But I'm better now and hopefully I'll manage to keep it going. My intention is to continue making Tibian content, and now with this new server character, I got even more to choose from, starting by discussing a bit of the current state of Tibia. My reason to stop playing my main is what a lot of people go through. Simply put, a lot of the Dominado guilds in mainly PvP servers are a big factor of players quitting the game. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the main reason for most players, but that's not going to change. That much has been obvious since Zipsoft is firm on staying neutral to things that happen between players. It's unfortunate, but that's how it is. I'm personally not into the whole aspect of Dominado, but I understand it to some degree. As bad as it sounds, I think if you're given the option to pay something extra to playing on a server freely, I find it worth it. However, that also depends on how much it is. For example, using my team's case, we were an average team of 1Ks, with some of us making over a billion XP a month. The tax that the Dominado introduced was of roughly 1 KTCs per person a month to be left alone. That simply didn't make any sense, and people chose to quit the game over paying that much. There was also the option to join their guild with less benefits, but they still do a one-time payment, which also felt like too much. However, I have heard of cases in other servers where people in those guilds just have to pay 25 or 50 TCs a month to their so-called guild banks, which is as far as I would go to say it's not that bad. However, the issue becomes problematic when even the casual players that pay in order to be in the Dominado guild to get benefits start to attack neutrals that chose not to go that route, and often take it to the extreme measures to make it as toxic as possible. That to me is the main problem, and I have always advocated for giving neutral players as much respect as guildmates, because I have been on both sides of the argument, not as a Dominado leader or even a member of guilds that were asking payments whatsoever, but rather on Dominado guilds that only serve the purpose of guiding a strong force that could keep the server out of wars, and then for the most part make the server free to everyone to play. This started with the very first server I started when coming back to Tibia, which was Noctera. This was the first Green Battle Eye server open PvP, and after a couple wars that decided to win in guild, we focused on making a good server free of Dominado. Everyone was free to do whatever they wanted, and we had a flawed system of using Discord channels to post screenshots of the letter of spawns so that there was a record, and it worked for quite some time. In the case of the more contested high level spawns like Library at the time, we split it into time slots that teams claimed, and it was theirs to use every day at the same time, and this was an option to anyone regardless of being in the leading guild or not. However, the reason I said it was a flawed system is because it still had its issues. Often players will find ways to abuse the system in order to benefit themselves, and overall it was a stressful thing for the leaders to control and manage. And eventually it became more of a set of rules that weren't particularly enforced unless it became a big issue, which still worked out for the majority of the server, so Noctera remained in my opinion one of the best Green Battle Eyes. Unfortunately, it came to an end when the server got merged with other servers, first becoming Unicera and then later Shanera. After partaking in new wars that lasted longer and were far more annoying, people started to lose respect for neutrals and felt like it was better to go for a more classic Dominado system where the leading guild had rights over everyone else. Eventually, I lost any interest on this, and for someone that doesn't enjoy PvP to begin with, I just left the guild and remained neutral, which was possible by avoiding to hunt the best times or use contested spawns by the leading guild. However, even that is not enough sometimes, and trouble will come even if you are actively avoiding it. So with all of that said, after realizing that I didn't like the PvP and I could just continue without it, I was open to the idea of the optional PvP servers. But don't get me wrong, these servers are not perfect either. The toxicity is done differently, and just like in PvP servers, it can't be stopped. Regardless, I think it's a lot more time consuming and petty, to the point that it's less likely to be an issue in non-PvP servers. For example, at least when it comes to Green Battle Eye's optional PvP, servers like Marvel Barbera and Optera a very free-to-play mentality, similar to what Noctera used to be. And now Vitera is heading towards that direction as well. We jokingly refer to it as a Noctera reunion, because a lot of players that were active back then are coming back and having fun here. So far it's managed to stay somewhat free of drama and a healthy player base. Sure, it still has its issue, and like most servers, player base does continue to go down, but I will continue to play here because for one, I have been enjoying the aspect of starting over, and also because I'm able to play with some of my old teammates and that's been great too. I would recommend it if you are looking for a fresh start, and our guild Red Force will take in anyone interested. There is also other guilds for Hispanics, so there is a balance in the server of English and Spanish players. I don't make any promises on the server being the best out there, or anything like that. I can just say that for a server that is still using an old system like in-game layers for spawns, it's surprisingly working nicely, and hopefully it will remain that way. That's all I got to say for now. As I said before, I will try to start again on the YouTube channel, and I can say that a lot more team hunting content will be coming, as well as more of what I have done in the past and whatever new things I feel like doing. Thank you all for watching, and a special thanks to the people that continue to watch videos and even left comments asking me to come back. Also, there was even people that recognized me in Vitera saying they like and miss the content, and I am very thankful for all of it. With that said, see you on the next video.